When we met Chairman Mao, it was a bit overwhelming because this huge historical figure, to be able to meet him, shake hands and talk. My name is Stephen Fitzgerald. I was a diplomat and Australia's first ambassador to China. I have been involved in many activities to do with Australia-China relations over a long period of time. People who like China are described as panda huggers. So here I am, I'm a panda hugger. Since the early 1960s, I'd been learning Chinese and modern and contemporary Chinese history, and then I was doing a PhD. My first visit to China was very short. I went back to China at the beginning of 1968, doing research and collecting materials for my PhD. When I came back to Australia, I put in a lot of time trying to persuade governments and education departments to introduce Chinese language and Chinese studies. And that became a passion of mine. Whitlam went to China in 1971 when we had no diplomatic relations. We had this long meeting with Zhou Enlai. Australian media was so impressed that they wrote hugely positive stories about Zhou Enlai and about China. And it changed the dynamics of the way people were thinking about China. Whitlam established relations with China. Fraser not only accepted that, he made a visit to China and he adopted the whole China policy of the Whitlam government. From then on, we had continuity. I think it was very significant for Australia. People in the Chinese Foreign Ministry were very encouraging and helpful. We really were able to make some headway on cultural exchanges, on various technological issues, and in science. 2014, we had the strategic partnership established with China, and then of course the Chinese-Australian Free Trade Agreement. So these are some of the critical moments. At the meeting between Presidency and Prime Minister Albanese, this strategic partnership is talked about again, and that's really critically important. Our government also recognised that the important thing was to keep the dialogue going, and so they did that. The Australia-China Council has done an extraordinary job in widening the range of issues and activities and fields in which we have exchanges. If we can keep the relationship going with the kind of program that the National Foundation has been funding and supporting, we can enjoy the relationship